what you just did there?
No, that's the live chat.
Uh-oh.
The YouTube.
Guys, we're live. I ambushed you.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. So yeah, let's see some viewers pick up here. But welcome to Bitcoin and Altcoin Trading Talk, episode 40. We skipped last time, as you guys know, due to some unforeseen circumstances. So, we're going to talk about that for a little bit, but I'll give you everyone an intro here. So we have myself first, your humble host, William Kale from Coinigy.com. Along with us from Coinigy, we have Rob Borden. How you doing tonight?
Hello. Doing well.
What's the World Series score right now?
1-1.
Oh, it is. Oh, nice. Good deal. And as usual, we have Brian Beamish, the Rational Investor. What's going on tonight, Brian?
Hello. Just watching to see whether we finish off this Bitfinex gap and crap out or blast to new highs here. So all excited.
Yeah, I just saw Finex was at what, 751 before we started the show. Something
We're
like
getting
that.
up there. They've clawed back the and actually I was tweeting out recently. My tweet that I put out was, is the Bitfinex gap going to be nothing more than a footnote in Bitcoin's history? Hopefully it will be.
Right.
Go marching right on and just blast right through the top here.
Yeah, it's trading at such a crazy premium to like Bitstamp and a couple of the others. It was mind blowing.
Well, it's interesting that gentleman Alex was really nice, and I suppose we should say hi to Alex here before I start blabbing too much. So hi, Alex.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you. It's a little bit longer for me. I know I missed the show before the last show was missed.
Oh yeah, so we haven't.
Wow.
I did too, actually. I was on vacay.
6-week vacay.
No, but I had a great time in Europe. I flew on WoW Airlines that does not accept Dogecoin. I had a layover in Iceland where nobody accepts Aurora coin, and then I wandered around Amsterdam for a bit and was kind of disappointed.
Did you have any NLG? Did you have any NLG?
No, but I did have someone give me a bunch of stickers and try and get me to buy it when it was at 1,000. And I'm like, I can't buy this. It's already up there. And then he told me about it.
What you should have said was, don't you watch our show? There's no way you could buy there. If I bought here, Brian would just bitch slap me.
It was pretty much that conversation. Exactly. Yeah.
Oh, good. Man, that was a hell of a rally. Dutch coins.
Did you at least drop some Geo coins while you were out there?
Oh no, I forgot to do that, but I'll see what I can.
You got to always be evangelizing, Alex.
Yeah, I went to a lot of places that said they accepted Bitcoin and asked them, and then they didn't. So it was kind of funny to have them be like, "Oh yeah, I think we did that at one time." But no, it's an interesting city. There's a lot of cool people there. I actually met up with Romano and gentleman who watches the show, Alex. Shout out to Alex. He was nice enough to treat me to some nice Italian food, and it was a good time. So I'm really happy to meet a lot of cool Bitcoiners and friends of the show in the European region. That's
cool. Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys meet any Bitcoiners down in Florida, Will?
No, not particularly. I met a couple seagulls and sandpipers and a lot of Jack Daniels though.
They were flying by your head through the hurricane.
A little bit of bad weather.
Yeah, we were on the East Coast and the hurricane was right up our alley, so we went over to the West Coast, kind of canceled our hotel and rebooked, and luckily avoided it, but we did get stuck in the traffic mess. So overall, it was still a pretty successful vacation. So.
And how's your team doing? Remember we had that newest member of your team on the last show, I think it was, wasn't it? How are they all hanging in through all this?
Yeah, we're doing great. I mean, so I guess I can kind of get into it as far as kind of the recent occurrences, but if there's anything we can say that kind of brings a team together, it's the recent activities have definitely done that. So yeah, I mean, I guess just to start out, I mean, the last couple of weeks have been pretty interesting for us over at Coinigy. If you've been kind of following our Twitter feed and our blog, obviously we had an intrusion into our systems, which basically started out with a hacker basically getting into some of our email accounts, which kind of led to a huge cascading failure. And he was able to actually export a lot of email addresses out of our Stripe account and our MailChimp account and our support system. So not really a cool thing to see. We tried to handle everything, obviously, the best that we could in the interest of our customers. Within about an hour of kind of figuring out what was going on, put up a blog post right away, kind of alerting people of the incident. And really ever since, we've been just sitting here pretty much for 16 hours a day, building in new security features for Coinigy to help protect users. And, we're really hoping to continue to earn people's trust. And really the good thing that came out of this too is, every cloud has a silver lining. We've revamped our entire security policy here at Coinigy for all employees. And yeah, so, luckily,
yeah, we added a lot of features to the site also in terms of security.
Right.
Well.
Yeah. I'll get into those too before we go too far. But I wanted to add too that luckily, we did have a security policy in place with regards to our servers and databases. So no API keys were compromised, no passwords were compromised. Unfortunately, once somebody gets your email, however, you do become a target potentially. So as a lot of people know as well, Bittrex has been getting a lot of people doing password resets, and a couple accounts were gotten into. So, we feel terrible about it, but there's a good chance that this email list compiled with a big list of other hacks down, from the past. So really the initial attack vector for us, we believe, was through the LinkedIn breach that happened a few months ago, or was it maybe about a year ago? And one of our developers used a common password across his emails, and we didn't have 2FA enabled. So kind of learn the two-factor authentication lesson the hard way, but we've instituted a new policy for all employees. And going forward, we're really hoping to help secure everyone's accounts by adding 2FA as mandatory if you want to enable trading going forward on Coinigy. It's a little bit of a, kind of a pain in the butt to set up initially, but once you're in there, it's really seamless. We're also looking at potentially adding support for U2F hardware devices, things of that nature. So definitely look forward to that. Some of the features, without boring everybody to death, but some of the features that we've built in from the user-facing end is, number one, obviously 2FA required for trading. Any API keys that were added that have access to trading prior to November 1st, you're required to re-add that API key. So, this was not 100% necessary, but we like to err on the side of caution. And this should really, users should really get in the habit of rotating API keys every once in a while anyways. We also added login, successful, and failure emails. We also added a huge feature, which is a lockdown link. And really one of the benefits of the way that Coinigy kind of operates, being that we're not an actual exchange and we don't hold funds, that gives us the privilege to kind of add this lockdown link. So what that means is with every security email that you receive, there's a link now on the bottom of that email, and you can click it at any time. It will immediately kick out any active Coinigy sessions. It will disable trading on all of your keys, force a password reset, and a couple other things, as well as notify us and flag a few things. So definitely feel free to use that if you feel that your account's been compromised at any time. What am I missing, Rob? There's probably about 30 other things, but
I don't know. One thing we wanted to make sure to mention is when you do change your API keys, make sure to basically edit the existing API key that you have and then put in a new key and secret from the exchange. If you delete the key or the account from Coinigy, then the history will be lost in terms of like your balances and your order history and things like that. So just a word of caution, you know, if you want to be able to maintain that history, then you should edit the key instead of deleting it.
Yep.
Otherwise, as far as other security features, I'm not too sure if you missed anything.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't. We have some other stuff that we built in internally that we're kind of keeping quiet about. So yeah, I mean that's it for the most part. You know, we're really trudging forward here. Just happy to be back on the podcast. Happy to be kind of back in full gear as far as development. So yeah, it's been I think I lost some weight the last couple of weeks, but that's not always a bad thing. So.
I don't see too many gray hairs, yet, so that's good.
Yeah, they're tucked in under the hat.
When we see the gray hairs in Rob's beard, then we know you guys are getting stressed.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, good to hear.
Alex, looks like you're talking, but we can't hear you.
Yeah. Sorry, I got the mute off now. No, I must say the response from you guys and your team was bar none, very, very professional and very transparent as well. I think a lot of people were happy and impressed with like the actions you guys took. So we really appreciate you guys keeping us up to date and letting us know exactly what is going on, what was, and then what you're doing, in the immediate and in the long term. To kind of mitigate risk and let people know what other risks there might be. And with regards to like the email lists getting out and around, I have a friend who makes one-off passwords for exchanges. He makes one for Bitfinex, and he got the password reset email. So he was trying to think back now on because it was a very individual email, and he actually said he used it on Cryptsy. So he's thinking that Vern maybe, or the database for Cryptsy has been sold, and some of those emails and passwords are going around. So that's something to, I guess, be aware of. If you use the same email across exchanges, definitely don't use the same password. And 2FA all the way. I've learned that now myself too.
Yeah, and just to add to that, I mean, even as far as not using the same password, don't even use a variation of the same password. Use a completely unique password because it's trivial for somebody to, run a script, capitalize a few letters, try some different number combinations, add a dollar sign, stuff like that. So you really need to have a secure, we try to say at least 16-digit minimum.
Right. Use a password manager and just set a really long random password for all of your different every different account, different password. And if you forget it, it's usually pretty simple to reset it or something like that. So it's better to just go through that process than try to make passwords that you can remember, because then they'll inherently be insecure.
Yep. So yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it. If you guys are looking for a recap of the events, definitely check out our blog. We were pretty in detail as far as everything that occurred, and yeah. So thanks to everybody for their support as well. That's been kind of helping us along the way. And I'll stop boring everybody with this, and let's get into some crazy alts and some crazy Bitcoin rallies and.
Super crazy Bitcoin rallies
and Zcash unrallies and
unraveling.
that was a pretty. Actually, did either of you guys follow that ZCOIN?
Yeah, ZCOIN, Zcash.
Well, I know there's that Zcash, but there was also that ZCOIN. I don't quite understand the relationship between the two. Alex, do you understand what the hell that ZCOIN is? Was it just a guy riding on the coattails of that Zcash?
That's a pretty good summation of it. So there was a
wonderful
published by a bunch of really smart people called ZCOIN, and that highlights this technology that allows fully anonymous payment. So you can't track a payment through the blockchain. It's all stored on a blockchain, but you can't track a payment through it. So that's using something called zero knowledge proofs. So a lot of the really smart people from that who wrote that paper are part of the Zcash team, and like that's the one with all the funding and everything. And then guys took kind of the more basic approach of what was highlighted in the paper and made ZCOIN, and they launched it ahead of time. And one of the guys, he's formerly of VertCoin, so this is not his first project. And I believe he even referred to.
We made some good money on that one. That was VTC, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yeah. And yeah, like VTC, he called it a nice experiment that didn't do so well. So I find that really here, a developer kind of just abandoning an old project and saying, oh yeah, no, it's just an experiment. You know, we kind of come a long way and we learned a lot, and now we're on to our next thing. And then how long before?
That's why I think you got to take profits when these things pop, because you just don't know what's going to happen down the road. But anyway. All right. I was just curious with that because, yeah, we did see the insanity around that ZCoin, or Zcash, I guess it was. And that was really interesting initial trading. Did you guys watch the initial trading of it?
Oh yeah.
I don't think there was just that much supply out there. So the question, you know, like I was literally watching the order book, and it was like 400, 500, and it was like, why is it trading that? All of a sudden, it just jumped to 1,000, and then 2,000, and then 3,000, and there was just these incremental, like really itty bitty little orders going through. And so I wonder if it was just some algo or something that actually was out of control.
Well, I think they just did basically like a true launch, right, Alex? I mean, as far as mining only, mining starts now. Everybody get in.
They're doing slow start. So the economics of it are almost identical to Bitcoin. You know, like 50 Bitcoin created every 10 minutes, and then every 4 years that halves. But for the first month, they have slow start mining. So they went from basically 0 reward per block, and they're gonna month of blocks up to 50. So right now the total supply is like 2,000 coins, and it's increasing faster. I think the block reward just
so when I see this, it says 4,000 here. That's what you're talking about.
Yeah. So it's gone up. It's significantly grown. The first day there were only 100, and now there's 4,000 in a month. Or in a couple, I don't know the exact time, but soon there will be 1 million very quickly. So this is going to be supply reaching demand very quickly.
So if that's the case, I mean, it's even now sitting at 1 full Bitcoin. I mean, is this story really going to be worth $700 million? Can it eat, you know, with the ever increasing supply, is this price just going to slowly erode down?
Oh yeah, like I think everyone who's being realistic will see that it will eventually overrun with supply. Like you can't have people making intense profits with mining because all they do is dump, and then because right now you can make like 400% or something. I don't know, ridiculous amounts of money. You can mine with Amazon Web Services, which is like a cloud-based service, and everyone's going to be doing it now.
Cloud-based
sounds like the MaxCoin launch.
Yeah. Yeah. So actually, I went and bought some Max the other day. That's an interesting looking chart.
Max is back. I got to get into that, man. Me and Max have a history.
Well, it's right on its knees. That's what I love about it. So. All right.
One thing that's interesting about this, Brian, though, is that the futures on BitMEX are trading, I think, at like a quarter of a Bitcoin, which I think is a bit more of a reasonable price for it. You know, if we're producing 4 times as many Zcash as Bitcoin every 10 minutes, that might be like the fundamental floor. We'll see if, you know, the price actually comes around that.
That's these guys over here. So they're still floating their futures contract. So it's sitting at about half a Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, but you can see they tried to settle it back down for a bit. They actually hit the ceiling on BitMEX. Only allows you to place like a 10 Bitcoin price. So like if you could only buy up to that high. It was kind of funny.
Isn't that interesting? So there was actually like a ceiling that you could actually shot for as sort of your profit objective, eh? Because it can't go any higher than that, right?
At least that's how the platform is constructed. Yeah, they couldn't place orders any higher than that.
Oh, these poor fools.
Set all your cells at 9.99 and
yeah, you know, because if anything, what ends up happening is that that level becomes a magnet, right? And the market just gets sucked towards that.
Yeah, no, some people got some seriously awesome shorts there because it's
well, that would be pretty sick. Yeah, I mean, if you knew that it couldn't go any higher than 10, that's smart, right? That's pretty smart. So that makes sense. And that's thinking on your toes, eh?
Yeah. No. But it'll be interesting. This will be definitely a coin to watch to see it into the new year if it finds a floor. And these futures have a lot more liquidity than the actual market itself.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. They actually. Oh, well, that can't be right. So I guess that's not the same.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess they don't list what the open interest is on these futures, do they?
No, like the interest is going to be increasing because.
And by time December rolls around, like, do you know what the contract settlement here is? Is it like middle of December?
It ends in December 1st, I think.
So by time December 1st rolls around, that's a month from now. How many coins are going to be mined by then?
It's supposed to be averaged out at 25. So 25 times 10 times.
So about that's not going to there's 25 coins mined a day.
No, 25 is the average. So times that by 30 days or 24 hours.
It's 25 like every 10 minutes or so, right? Just like Bitcoin.
It's 180,000 by the end of the month.
Okay, so that'll probably be, you know, the guys that are selling up here, they can, if they're mining, then they can deliver those if they have to, right?
Yeah.
Wait, how many coins are in one of these contracts? Do you know offhand?
No, it's all paper trading based on the asset itself. Like,
you don't think anybody's actually going to take delivery on any of these futures contracts?
No, because the way BitMEX works, it's I don't know. I don't even really know how Arthur does it, but it's he has a bunch of asset classes. Like he had, I think, Lisk or something trading, or I don't think it was the first time he had something trading beforehand, because like Zcash was trading a month before on BitMEX, just to kind of give a price history. So
it's scary that you know all these exchange operators by their first name. Now that's what I call an insider. Anyway, okay, well that's kind of fun. I mean, technically speaking, I could take a nibble off of here. This isn't such a bad area to do some buy. I don't know whether I would. I don't really understand the fundamentals behind these futures, but all right. Do we have the wheel? Do we want to?
Yeah,
what do we want to do? Do we want to start?
Can we look over a little Bitcoin? Yeah, I'm curious to hear
what
your thoughts are.
I put out a tweet. I don't know whether I'm allowed to do this or not, but this tweet I've been talking about for a while, so I think it sort of summarizes what I've been thinking about Bitcoin for a while. Where is our Bitcoin? So, and I apologize. I know you're not going to like just blank that, you know, that out, whatever.
We don't care, Brian. It's not a big deal.
Cool. So basically, I've been sort of talking to the public, you know, and when I talk to, you know, people about Bitcoin, I actually see, you know, and we have in I think our last episode, we went through a fairly detailed explanation of the bot. So, you know, regular viewers of this should probably look at this and go, oh, yeah, here comes Brian's bot setup. But it's, you know, you can see this burst from these lows down here at 433 up to the, you know, that was the pre-halvening event rally peak. And then the hack, right, which left a big hole on the charts. And so I was basically tweeting out and asking the question, you know, does this hack becomes nothing more than just a footnote in Bitcoin's history? And I think to all intents and purposes, we'll know whether if the people that were hacked and that bought all up through here and that are just praying to God that the market gets back and they come out and they sell, then we'll see price get rejected from this area. Now on real time, there is a real time. Oh, I guess I got rid of it. BTC USD on Finex. You can see the fight that's going on up here. And actually, this is really interesting because this was just the start of the new trading day. And you can see, actually, we're getting, can you guys see the divergence, everybody, hopefully watching this video? We had big up volume bar here, and I often talk to you guys about divergences in these indicators. This is a great example of divergence just in volume itself, where you can see the big buying interest, and then we just pushed to new highs here, and yet the volume is quite a bit lower than this high here, right? So a little bit of a warning sign. Be careful out there, right? We can't really declare victory here that we've broken out cleanly. I don't like the look of this divergence. Something's not right there. Now, if we zoom out to the higher time frames, here we are at that gap, right? Like that last image basically outlined. There is the Finex gap. And it was actually interesting, anybody who watched the Alex's Block Talk show last Friday, Alex had asked me to come on. And at the end of his show, he asked for everybody to make predictions about where he thought, where you think prices are going to go. And my general hunch is that we needed to come up and fill in these gaps. And on Stamp, it's also got a gap here. So I think on balance, looking for gaps to be filled in is a great sort of tool for you guys, everybody watching this, for you to use. As we were sort of, does anybody know what they call this in the stock market when you go through the process of turning and coming back up and testing the highs? We call it, have you ever heard me use the term climbing the wall of worry?
I've seen that reference. I don't know if you specifically said that on this show or not.
Okay, so anyway, there's your phrase for the day, right? So I think that's basically what the market is doing here, and this is filled with a bunch of skepticism, right? People are worried. No, there's no way it'll be a bull. If we start to hear and actually, like I watch Twitter very closely. Do you guys notice that just about almost exactly the point when you start to hear people put out the hashtag alts are back, that's literally, you can stop the market on a dime as soon as you see the people start to put out those hashtags. And I don't think we have that kind of euphoria in Bitcoin just yet. I don't hear it. So if that's the case, maybe we can keep pushing higher. But long and short of it here, my opinion is, as the tweet sort of highlighted, is that I think if you were going to be playing this move, the market actually gave you a pretty clean setup here off of the bot level. And does anybody know what this little pattern in here is called? You ever seen that before? What does that kind of look like?
Cup and handle.
Yeah, very good, Alex. Right? So if we pull up the chart specifically, and everybody watching, this is great stuff, man. You'll see this the rest of your career if you are around long enough. Where basically this looks like a teacup, and it's got a cute little handle on the side. Can you see the teacup now? So that's why they call this a cup and handle, right? Kind of looks like a teacup with a little handle. And very simply put, a break above, they call this the lip of the cup. A break above here is a big buy signal. So as we had said in the tweets, I found it really interesting how the bot entry, the bot just simply wants you to try and get long off of the 25% of this ultimate move. And that's set up right off of the cup and handle breakout. So there was some pretty, there were actually levels you could have traded this. It's not outlandish for you to be long from about 448 or whatever that level is, which just so happens to be the point of control. And if you botted this, we just had 734.03. We just had that level traded to. Sorry, I keep bumping over there. Let's move this over here. We just bumped up. We hit a high here, 751, 754.66. So at 733, we said 743, somewhere in there. The stop to break even level is hit. So if you bought this according to the bot trading model, you could basically move your stop to scratch. And actually, we had a trade like this recently on that little game credits. Same sort of formation. It was basically a bot, and the game, unfortunately, it ran up, hit stop to break even level, and then floundered, and then came back to scratch. So it does happen. And the worst case is you just walk away at scratch. Big fucking deal. Hopefully what you can also see here is the 66% level, and this on the bot simply says that, hey, I can start locking in profits if we get to that level. And what does this really assume? It basically assumes that Bitcoin's going to break out. So if Bitcoin does break out, then we can start thinking about seriously locking in profits. And the method I use for that is called the 3 high-low method. If you are curious about that, just drop me a pop by the site later on and ask me, and I'll be more than happy to explain it. But in essence, that's the way we start locking in profits, is we start hunting market structure.
Does that say 791, Brian?
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, okay, it's a little blurry for me.
And I think that implies just a little bit higher than the breakout level, right? The high here is 789.78. So basically just a hair above there, and you can start locking in profits.
Getting close.
Yeah, and really, you know, the key here was the gap. You know, if there were enough people that were sitting here, they were going, for God's sakes, just bring, because look at the volume bars. Look at, some people were doing some serious buying in here, right? They were doing buying in here as well, but also here. And that was this final bar up into here. So if all of those trapped bulls, right, the trapped buyers, if they have been like, there's no fucking way I'm ever seeing my Phoenix money back, blah, 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 they probably would have just capped the rally right here. But the fact that we're actually pushing higher, to me, says that, hey, we still got, you know, there is still a head of steam behind this. And I don't think it's a good idea. And I know some of my site members were a little bit jumpy. They wanted to hit this thing. I kind of think, you know, especially if we look at things like internals, I kind of think that we have to let this play itself out. You know, I'm a big fan of MACD divergences as sort of a way to tell us that, hey, internally the market isn't as strong as you think it is. But I don't see any divergences here. In fact, I see a low, a rally high, then a higher low, and then a breakout. So this thing's got a head of steam behind it. You guys see that? That's not a bearish scenario. And then we just broke out to another new high. So momentum is still pushing up. Now the problem here is, you know, you notice that on the buy, I said, all right, it's okay to be long from wherever the hell that level is, right? 448. Can I justifiably go in and buy 700 and change? No, I can't. And, you know, I use my little time-tested overbought, oversold indicator, the Willie, and he is very comfortably overbought, which means that this market's overbought, it's getting dangerous, it's far too late to be a buyer. Now, what I could see happening is that, you know, maybe we do have a blow-off top here, and this is Bitcoin. Bitcoin really can't end a move without some sort of big, horrendous blow-off top, right? I mean, you guys have probably seen that time and time again. And what I find really interesting is the bot is actually saying that $912 on this Phoenix contract, if we break out to new highs here, is perfectly realistic. So the problem here is I can't, in good conscience, tell the viewers to buy Bitcoin right here. I could see it go up another 100, 150 bucks a coin. But at the same time, we got a hell of a lot of risk built into this market now. This is dangerous territory to be thinking about new purchases.
Brian,
really,
what do you think about as far as like the China impact? A couple of people are mentioning that in chat as well, and I know I read an article, you know, saying as far as like devaluing the yuan, and then
right, yeah. In fact,
Chinese capital outflows are.
Yeah, and if anything, that kind of worries me to a certain degree, because that's not necessarily Bitcoin's so fucking awesome, I got to buy Bitcoin.
Right, it's more like a safety net type of investment.
Well, what I'm hearing is that the Chinese are using this as a vehicle to get capital out of the country. And you know, and I actually did see a couple gentlemen on Twitter and stuff that did some videos and some work just outlining the correlation between the yuan's devaluation and Bitcoin's move. And I think there's a very high correlation there. And what worries me is I think that the Chinese are using the US election as cover to do this. So, you know, once the new person, and if it's Donald Trump, which scares the hell out of me, but if it's Donald Trump, what's the one thing Donald Trump has been chirping about for like the past few years? About how the US is getting screwed on these international trade deals. You know, and now there's this race to the bottom in everybody's currency to devalue versus the US dollar so they can export more into the US market. So I could envision that the Chinese are trying to get this devaluation done ahead of the election just in case Donald Trump wins, because they might have a trade war with the Americans. Right? That's a total possibility. Trump might say, you know, enough is enough. No more fucking around. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. You just don't know. But I do see a interesting correlation there. And I do agree with the audience and with a few people on Twitter and stuff that a lot of Bitcoin's move here recently can be directly attributable to what's going on in Asia. And I also too, you know, and this is an interesting thing on the side, is that I see that the volumes on these moves up are not that great on these Western exchanges. Like if you look at Stamp's volume, it's minuscule. So it's not like it's new Western money coming in and pushing these markets up. And then, of course, you know, we have to be worried, you know, if we're talking about China and talking about China volumes, how much of that is real and how much of it is bullshit? So lots of moving parts here, no doubt about it. I am envious of anybody who is long off of this nice bot. And if you got kahunas, my advice to you is at this point, you know, if you are long from the 450s areas, or what does that number say? 640, beg your pardon. The 640s areas, then at worst it comes back to 640, 650 and just hop at scratch. At best, you might get a nice 50% return on your money. I could very easily see that.
What do you guys think about, I'm just trying to understand, why is Finex trading at such a premium to like Bitstamp, for example? Is it something to do with Chinese investors being able to get into Finex?
It could be. I think that there's also the token issue involved there. I thought it was really interesting. Right. I don't know whether you guys got a chance to watch Alex's interview with that gentleman on Friday, but I think equity investors are really behind Finex. I think these guys are actually investing some serious money into these guys. Now, it might be to protect their asses because they're underwater on these tokens, right? And they want their money back.
When you say equity investors, are you talking about as far as like Bitfinex's actual investors as opposed to people just buying on Bitfinex?
Well, maybe Alex, why don't you take a moment and tell the audience and tell Will and Rob about this gentleman, because I thought he was a really interesting guy.
Yep. On last Friday, we had Simon Dixon of Bank to the Future on, and Bank to the Future is an equity crowdfunding platform. So it allows you to buy equity, like long-term type of like almost shares in a company. So Bitfinex is actually doing their crowdfund right now. Don't ask me what's the status of it at the moment, if it's oversold or anything, but you can use BFX tokens to actually convert into company shares. So they're kind of using that now as a way to exchange losses in their platform for shares in their company. And apparently it's doing really well. And it's actually a lot of the bigger investors, the people who had, 5 or 6 figures, now have, 10K in BFX tokens. Well, now they can transfer that for shares in Bitfinex. So this is kind of allowing them to bounce back. So I think the overall goal of at least what Simon was explaining at the end of the show was kind of a sort of scenario. You don't want this huge vacuum in the space. So now they're looking at, the bounce back of Bitfinex. And the reason why Bitfinex, I think, is kind of stands alone from other exchanges is their margin platform, money out, like their lending platform. It's a peer-to-peer financing of their margin system, and that allows you to make a lot of interest just for having your money in the exchange. So I think that's what a lot of people want to do. And
did we lose Alex?
Maybe we'll have a lot of US. Shit.
You were back for a second, Alex. I think you might be back now.
All right.
You might want to take your camera off. Sometimes when you take the camera off, it makes the video go a little smoother.
Okay. How much of that did you guys get?
You're coming through loud and clear, but a little blurry, which is fine.
Okay. Did you hear my whole spiel?
Yeah, we heard a good portion of it. Yeah.
Yep.
So Bitfinex, their margin platform is, I think it's getting funded again. Like, I think they basically had everything kind of get reset. You know, people who had like 3x longs and stuff kind of liquidated, or they were lost. They lost a lot of positions and stuff like that. So maybe that's what's going on right now, is people are building those longs again, and you have a lot of money coming back into the platform. That could be right now, and people want to 3x longs for the future.
Yeah, I think the Finex business model was very attractive to a lot of people. And I think a lot of 5-figure, 6-figure people were caught. And I think they were caught so much that they said, you know what, we're in too deep. We got to support these guys and bring them back. And I think it was interesting at that Block Talk meeting, one of the gentlemen in the Vancouver room, he said, well, this is just a debt to equity forced conversion. So I thought that was an interesting observation.
Yeah, the forced ICO is what I've been calling it.
Yeah, a forced ICO. And the interesting thing is we may see exactly the same thing in the banks here in our Western civilization. You know, it's interesting how in Canada here, they've actually passed legislation where the banks can legally go into your bank account and take as much money as they need and simply give you stock in the bank company, which is scary, right?
That is very scary.
Yeah. So the irony of it all is that the crypto world and the real world aren't a hell of a lot of difference. I know you guys want to think they are, but it's
they already did the haircut in Greece. That was several years ago.
Well, yeah. Well, that I think the parallel was what they did in Cyprus. That was
right.
That was the parallel.
Okay.
Except you didn't get stock in the bank. You just got a haircut.
You got nothing.
You got to, oh, we don't want to touch Cyprus. Okay.
I hate to even laugh at that. That wasn't even a funny joke. That's terrible. But yeah.
So, you know, long and short of it here with Bitcoin, uppy market, as long as we keep making higher highs and higher lows, then I don't really see any reason to step in front of this. I do understand traders, and, you know, we talk about, you know, what is the statistical odds of the market failing at the top end of this range and having to revisit the lower end of the range? You can remember what the statistics are.
Got me beat.
Okay, because everybody kind of appreciate that this is like a top end of our range here, and this is the bottom end of our range. You can see the little W down at the bottom end of the range.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there are professional crude oil that I used to trade with, professional crude oil prop traders, that they don't really have a choice. They have to sell here. They don't have any choice. Like, I come to work to make money from trading. Markets range 70 to 80% of the time, so I have to sell. I have to short this. And I'm just going to simply risk to new highs. So you have to understand, guys, there are market participants that will be doing that, right? And that's the tough trade. You know, we often talk about the righter trade is usually the harder trade to take. And you know, nobody knows the future, but at the same time, the statistical odds of us going up and breaking up through the top and confirming and moving higher are actually against us. I would say I would put it at maybe like 20–30%. And I remember when I was prop trading, I used to, a lot of days I would come in and I would be long the bot off of here, and we'd be running up against these highs. And my old buddy Brandon Rigo, the Mountain Man, and all my students know Mountain Man. In fact, you guys probably know Mountain Man, right? What's his fib level?
Not personally, but I feel like I know him at this point.
What's his fib level? Does anybody know his magic level?
61.8.
All right, so Mountain's in there slamming the 61.8 fib. I'm long off the bot, and we would sit there in the fucking lounge battling back and forth. Who's gonna win? The Bulls or the Bears? The Bulls or the Bears? And it would just go back and forth. That was a very typical day for us in the office. So, you know, understand the market's going back and forth. It really is a function of what's your trading plan. What kind of trader are you? Or if you're an investor, little old lady, I mean, look at this beautiful W. We just talked about that a moment ago, right? The cup and handle, right? I mean, there's lots of stuff that you could have traded through here. Getting too aggressive on the buy side right here, I don't know whether that's such a good idea. And you have to understand there are going to be professionals that are going to be coming in shorting against this high. So, okay, that's sort of my Bitcoin spiel. Did I answer any questions?
Spin the wheel.
Yep, good words to the wise there.
Okay.
You guys see the wheel?
Don't buy into BTC, Kyle. He said he's going to dump on everybody right now.
No.
Chat.
Kyle.
Well, I'm not shorting yet either, so keep that in mind, right? But I've got a couple sharks in our community, and they are starting to take stabs against the top here. So just understand that, guys.
Okay, I got the wheel pulled up here. Do you guys see it?
Yep. All right. What are we up to here?
In here, we got quite a few additions here. I think people are, you know, in withdrawal from last week. All right, HUC, Hunter Coin.
Who the heck is that?
Hunter Coin. I've had these guys on Block Talk before. It's a gaming coin that actually takes place on the blockchain. Turn-based game.
They're only,
cool stuff.
Now this is interesting. They're only listed on Polo. Why would they not be interested in listing on Bitfinex?
Andrew's told me he's interested. I think, and I've mentioned it to Bill too. I think Bill likes to. He doesn't want to split the volume up, but we'll see. It could be a future addition to Bittrex. I'm kind of working with the two of them to make that happen.
I always like it, and this has been a really interesting education for me. In that, you know, nice supply number. I love that kind of number, right? A lot of my stock market models, they ask for stocks that are less than 25 million shares out. So when I see like 14, 15 million coins out, that puts a smile on my face. I also like the fact that it's got a fairly robust market cap. So that means to me that, you know, like if this was listed on Bitfinex and the volume started to dissipate and Bitfinex starts to play their games, there's enough people invested in this name that they're going to defend the name. A warning to some of our audience, and I've gone through this personally. Sometimes these coins can actually be too small. If you get a market cap, you know, it might have 14 million coins out, maybe only 5 million coins out, whatever, and the market cap's only a couple grand. You just got to be careful there. You know, is there enough incentive for the developers to actually keep the story going? So the fact that it's got about 14 million out, nice friendly number. It's got a market cap of a couple $100 grand. I'm not too worried about this going off the board. I don't think we necessarily have to worry about that on Polo, but has Polo ever had a time where they sort of clean house and they're just get rid of coins that they're trading low volumes?
They did that recently. I don't know if it was based on volume. I think it was more subjective. Like they just got rid of a lot of coins that they didn't like. It wasn't even based on like the network at all either.
You just looked at them the wrong way and you're gone.
Yeah, I think Polo is they got a really weird mindset of what they want to have on the site, and I think it comes down to relationships and also the uniqueness of what they're trading. So,
all right. I have noticed, and actually, I have a couple site members that like to use Yobit as sort of their garbage pail. But I don't even see Yobit. This guy's not even listed on Yobit. So that's
no, and the funny thing is, it's actually a really old coin. I think it was on Cryptsy, maybe, but if you zoom out a little bit, you'll see it's like over 2, maybe 3 years old. It's a very old coin.
Oh yeah, that's forever, man.
Early 2014 stuff. Very rich history too. You guys should check out the blocktalk on it if you want to learn more about it.
You know, on a weekly basis, this is actually what we want to see as investors. In fact, a lot of my level oneers, they're going through this process of learning this now. Hopefully, you know, if we change this to a line chart, right? Hopefully, everybody can appreciate. Well, I see more kind of W's, especially this one coming up here when it broke out through the middles here. But then you can see these nasty little M's right up at the top of the range. But not bad. I mean, at least it's higher highs and higher lows. There's a nice W in there. So interestingly enough, you know, considering the number of coins out, this actually isn't such a bad looking chart. You know, to actually think about putting new money to work. I suppose they're directly involved in the video games, online video games. So like the game credits, it was moving up nicely recently. I noticed that Digi just can't seem to get going. They're in the video game kind of token game business.
This is a little bit different though. This isn't payments for games. This is actually like the blockchain itself is a game. It's like it's the server, I guess. Like it's where all the rules for the game are being done. Yeah, it's very unique. Let's put it this way. It's different than any other gaming coin.
So I guess the question ultimately is there any value in the coins being higher priced? Does that make a difference in the game?
Yes, because buying like a game piece is more expensive. The more expensive it is, like it's a fixed amount, and also they have block rewards. Like the amount of every day is split between the miners, and then also some go on the map. So like the rewards for the people playing the game. So it's really interesting that like there's reward for playing and being good at the game. You actually can be more competitive than the miners are.
Okay. Well, you know, off of the weekly chart, we saw that double bottom. There it is off the dailies. And everybody watching the show, right, drill down and see if you can find these kind of little daily double bottoms. Hopefully you guys can see these in here. So sharpshooters, right, nice longs off of here. You had nice moving average crosses, sort of set up that rally. Same sort of thing in here. A little bit early on the double bottom here with the moving average cross, but you can see that came in over here off of this double bottom. You know, everybody watching this show, you're not allowed to be a buyer up here. If we wanted to buy this and the price was zooming up here, where could we start looking? You know, we take our little reload zone tool, and really, I don't think it should surprise us that price came slamming down into this level here and sort of stopped going down. Wicks and tails like to be eaten. You can see this nice juicy tail right here that the market ate up, 200 period moving average. And you know, you could even argue that all we've done is just back price up. There is that original double bottom. We could come down as low as here. And then here is this original double bottom down there. So, you know, the problem here is that what is the fundamental reason for this rally and why the precipitous sell-off? Was there like hold periods that came off? Did the video game or something kick people out?
The first rally is very interesting. So this coin has merged mine with Bitcoin and Litecoin. So they have like two different difficulties. Anyways, the difficulty for Bitcoin was really high, and then a pool dropped them. So they lost a bunch of hash rate. So basically half of the blocks stopped being produced. So basically the rate of production cut in half. So the price went up, I think, to incentivize people to try and mine that side of the chain again, but also due to the fact that there's half as many coins being produced, like your mining dumps are going to be halved as well. So I thought that was very interesting kind of fundamental economics going on with the chart there.
So that's what.
Yeah, that right there is like pure crypto economics at its
then
best.
did some mining pool come on and say, all right, we'll step in and start mining this thing again?
I think that someone finally found enough blocks that the difficulty adjusted. So now they're operating back normally again with less hash rate than before. It's kind of back to basics again. But if you guys know Andrew Wagner from News BTC, he's got a new Twitter account, Blockchain Gaming, and he follows a lot of gaming coins. He's always showing up new developments for Hunter Coin. So there are people working on it, making it a little more easy to use. Because right now I can't show my cousin the game and just say, hey, yeah, you should play this. It actually has a little bit. You got to have like a Bitcoin full node, I think, to actually play it.
Yeah.
So it's not
just what I'm hearing is there was an abnormal reason, an anomaly, if you will, that caused this rally. I think, for viewers that are going to watch this show, I think we, try and work your bids down against all the bottom of this range here. I suppose for traders in the community, you could maybe, since we are in a reload zone, you could drill down to a lower time frame and start, well, I bet there was a divergence that came in right there. Really cool. I've been working with the very fast relative strength index. I like to use a 7-period relative strength index, working really well in the stock market of late to highlight divergences for me. And so let's see what we have here. Let's I don't know how I'm gonna do this. Anyway, can you guys see? Oh, and really, it doesn't really show here, does it? Well, actually, we see it on the MACD. So why don't we just do MACD here? So we'll get rid of you, and we'll get rid of you, and we'll get rid of you. So the traders out there, if you're looking to just scalp, you can see how this market made a panic dump low here. And then lower lows, but we ultimately never did go through this low here. Then we broke out through the middle part here on this big move here. So there is anecdotal signs on the lower time frame of some sort of turn. But I don't know. I don't really like the look of this. And you also notice that there's a bit of a gap down here. So there's an old adage that says gaps like to be filled. I don't really like the look of that. And considering this was a new low, I wouldn't be surprised on that gap fill if we make another new low. So I can't really see anything trading wise here to get to.
Well, in terms of timing, Brian, if we look at last year, like we were hitting bottoms like right around Christmas time, like 2 weeks before, and then the new year we just saw like launches of like Ethereum and all the other altcoins and back them following. So I think we're still like a month out before we really see the bottoms of a lot of these things.
Yeah, well, so here, and we've talked lots about seasonality and venture capital, eh? So, just like Alex pointed out, we might have to be going through this just long, slow grind of death here through the end of the year. Now, we do have to remember that Bitcoin had a fairly substantial rally into November of last year, so that might have had some overwhelming, overriding effects. We do see Bitcoin is rallying now into early November as well. And 2013, of course, that was Bitcoin's big rally window, eh? So really, I agree with you. I don't think anybody should be really pounding the table to that these things are all going to go up today. And we're probably going to see that theme repeated on a number of these coins that we look at. So yeah, coming into bottoming ranges, work your bids, wait for W's, wait for signs of divergence, and go. But nothing right now yet.
All right. Well, let's see what else we can find on this wheel here. You guys see it?
Yep.
All right, giving her a spin. And around she goes, where she stops. Nobody knows. Oh, ETC, Ethereum Classic.
Okay, what do we got there? ETC Bush. Oh boy. You know, the problem is lower highs and lower lows. I do, you know, it's interesting. I have, and it's funny. I go through this every term. It's almost a bit amusing. In that I have a lot of aspiring traders that come to me and they say, "Oh, yep, I really like the fundamental story of this," and then they go through the course and they're like, "Oh, fuck, I wouldn't touch that." So, when I look at this, anytime you have an asset making lower highs and lower lows, there's just not a heck of a lot to get excited about. I do understand that there are some people that are interested in the fundamental story of Ethereum. Unfortunately, for a guy like me, when I listened to that Ethereum story and I heard that there's now going to be more forks coming.
Yeah, they had this fork pre-planned prior to the other one, though, I think, right?
Okay, so now is this Ethereum Classic going to get forked then?
Their plan, I think, originally was to fork a week after the other Ethereum forked, and I don't believe they've gone forward with that. One being that now Ethereum requires another fork, so they're probably just going to do it all at once. But the other reason is there's already divergence in the Ethereum Classic community about, well, technically we shouldn't be forking for anything. So now they're talking about like Bitcoin uncensored or something, like, or Ethereum
Classic, and then we'll have Ethereum Classic.
Right. This is kind of spinning out of control, isn't it?
At least on this chain, yeah. Like I think the regular Ethereum is kind of business as usual. They're debugging. All the price decline is more relative because of the virtual machine, like bugs and that. It's not really due to a competitor of anything. And yeah, Ethereum Classic is just going to die a slow death, or maybe find a base and have a little activity. But I think the long run, doesn't look very good for it.
What are mining volumes looking like on ETC versus ETH? Any idea? I mean, is ETC kind of just dying off now? Are people kind of abandoning ship?
I believe, yeah. Like, I want to compare the hash rate, but I haven't been able to find it for ETC because with the launch of Zcash, I've watched a lot of the hash rates. Ethereum recovered almost immediately, but several other, like another Ethereum clone had a drop in like 50% in hash rate. There's a couple. So
Zcash was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back on some of these, and
yeah,
we're gonna see who comes out unscathed.
Here, I'll show you a cool site on if you want to compare like mining stuff. I found this the other day. So here it is here, whattomine.com, and it will show you what's the most profitable thing to mine. So if you're mining Zcash right now, you could be getting 500% return. Expanse, which is that one Ethereum clone, is the second best, 20%. Ethereum Classic is up there like 110%, but like right now Ethereum is looking at this wrong. It's comparing everything to Ethereum. Yeah, like this is where you can get an idea of like what's the most profitable thing to be mining, like difficulty versus the hash rate versus the price. So you can get a rough idea of what to expect for return. So if you start seeing things in the negative, it's probably looking kind of rough, like people are mining at a loss for it.
What's up with that Mona? That Mona just keeps cratering.
Yeah, Dogecoin. I'm not happy with Dogecoin right now. It's almost breaking 30 Satoshis.
No, crazy Japanese cryptocurrencies. Okay, so looking at ETC, technically speaking, there's just not a hell of a lot to say here. It sucks. You know, I don't know what this low is here, but if I was just eyeballing this, it seems to me that we've got some business down in this area down in here. So that low is 10,098. I don't know whether that number means anything to miners or anything, Alex, but that's a number I would probably keep my eye open for. And unfortunately, as you can just see, momentum-wise, moving average is very healthily bearish. we checked the moving averages, then inside bar failure, break to new lows. There's just nothing to get excited about here. Sucks. That's actually a pretty easy one. Next.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree with your sentiment there, Brian, of
at least, you know, there's some back and forth on like that Hunter coin, right? We got ranges, we got weekly double bottoms. Oh, I love weekly double bottoms, right? But here we just don't have anything to work with yet. So.
Yep. All right. You guys see my screen?
Okay. Yep.
All right. Give her a spin. Round she goes.
Sorry, ETCers.
Oh, Sterk coin.
Sterk, actually, that's a damn good looking little coin.
So now this is interesting. I want to mention one thing about Altcoin, because doesn't Bank to the Future, aren't they very intertwined with Start?
Max and Simon are very good friends. I believe actually ZCOIN, the Sterk coin platform, was actually funded on Bank to the Future. It was one of the only things that was allowed to like overfund by several factors.
Okay.
I'll just say this, for whatever it's worth, I would not take a bet against that guy that you had on. If that guy wants to run a market, and that's one of the reasons why I think Finex is doing as well as it is.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring this up, is because if Finex is getting listed on Bank to the Future, I wonder if that's going to have an indirect kind of effect on Altcoin.
Well, and pin.com was on there on Bank to the Future as well, and you could actually buy into it with Altcoin. So I think that's when we saw that first little peak in the chart here at the bottom of this range. But now we're seeing another little spike here, and I was just finding out today that there's going to be a block halving, like a reward halving. So now mining inflation is going to be halved. So that's another kind of plus to this story.
Yeah. I mean, these are the kind of, and you know, big surprise Brian was buying in here, right? But these are the kind of, you know, our viewers watching this, right? This is the kind of thing that I love. I love a chart that looks like this. So a couple tails here. We got this big honking tail. Wicks and tails like to be eaten, right? Remember we just did the ETC, and there was another one, the Hunter coin. Remember we were doing that? And notice, look at this. I mean, this is textbook. This is exactly what you want to see, right? That's that horizontal support level, and they just brought it down, and then look at this cute little W. I mean, that's just textbook. I swear somebody could write a course off this shit. Oh, wait a minute.
You guys know anyone?
I love that line. Anyway. And you know, we look at like little things, right? I love to see like little tells. And I see we're getting like volume impetus. Isn't that interesting? So there was a bit of selling through here. That's a bit of a surprise. But we are getting some nice volume bars here. How do I show them? I thought I had this set up right. Maybe I've done it wrong. Anyway, let's go unmerge up. All right. So I always like to see situations. There's 2.238, and what do we got here? 2.25. Oh, that's good. So we have got higher volume bars here. This is the what I call the bullish impetus study. It's showing that, hey, there's a push going on here. Usually, guys, we get a nice little check of the 200 SMA, and then it backs off. Have you guys ever heard me talk about moving average sandwiches before? I often use the 30 SMA and the 200 SMA, and can you see how the market is basically sandwiched between these two moving averages? See how that works?
Yes.
Isn't that cool? That happens a lot in the marketplace. That's one reason why I really like to use these particular moving averages. And you can see a cute little double bottom came in here just off of this pullback. And actually, I'm a little surprised. I'm surprised they didn't come back and kiss this high here. Maybe that was because they kissed it in here and they just left a little tail there. You know, your tell that this thing is off to the races, of course, is a break of that high there. And we'd like to see it on higher volume. So this is encouraging. We're getting stronger volume. A little surprised that OBV looks like it does there, though. And one thing I really like about this, and this is where I think, guys, I mean, we can make fortunes at this game, is can you see how if we look back on this chart, this guy left a cheeky little gap right up there. You see that? I don't know whether you can see that or not. Let's zoom in on that.
Yeah.
And if I was using, this is exactly like the Finex gap and the stamp gap, right? The same, the target that I gave Alex for his show. In essence, I would quite literally use this, just as Finex is doing this as we're speaking. I would use this gap as a very realistic price objective down the road. And I mean, look, there's some serious money to be made here.
How many doubles we got there?
Funny enough, you mentioned though Finex is because Sterk coin was actually hacked as well. They their platform had a bug in it that allowed a hacker to withdraw a crap load of Sterk coin and dump it on the market. I don't know if that happened right there, but it was definitely around that time. And yeah, we've been bleeding out since then.
You know, they often say the longer the channel, the bigger the run. And the fact that this guy's basically been sitting in this price channel now for basically the past 6 months, that, in my opinion, is encouraging. And like you said, I actually like to hear what you're saying, that your guy from last week is in on the financing of these ideas, because what that tells me is that this coin isn't going out of business. And really, viewers, half of my job is just to stop you guys from buying up here or up here or up here. If you can just force yourself to concentrate on trying to buy when the price sort of settles down into a range, even here is fine, you're going to do fairly well over the long run. So again, thinking this kind of logic, I don't have a problem if you want to go and pick up some of this down in here. And full disclosure, I bought a whack of this recently. So I'm feeling very, very optimistic about this. And the interesting thing is, look how that gap relative to where we are now, that's nowhere near any of these highs. I mean, if this thing ever does get going and head back up here, holy cramoly, you could pay for your university education with this. So.
Shall we do another spin?
Sure. I guess
let's do one more quick one and then.
Yeah, if you guys are going to buy this, viewers, right, work reload zone bids, don't chase price. All right, that's the last thing I'll say about that. It shouldn't surprise us why price turned in here, right? That's a reload zone. That's where you should have been buying. Okay, no more. I'm done.
Okay. One more for you, Brian. We'll get it out of you. Oh boy, I put them together. Trump and Clinton coin.
No, you did it.
It's only fitting.
There's no way. You fixed the wheel. There's no way that could have landed on that.
Now, these are two Yobit coins, so I definitely don't own any. But
yeah, well, I suppose how fitting. The only place this Trump coin is really listed is on a Russian exchange, eh? I bet you Putin himself probably told these guys that they better post this fucking coin or else they're gonna get shot, right? And the worst part about it is there's probably actually quite a bit of truth to that statement.
We got to get BTC Kyle on this show. He's hilarious. He's saying rigged.
Coin or the election?
Is rigged.
Oh, the wheel. I find that hilarious that you did that. I mean, that's incredible, right? All right, so, and it's interesting, this coin, because I remember when the debates were on, and I was tweeting out that, gee whiz, it sure looked like they were trying to put in a bottom here, but wow, just right up against a world of headwind. And, Trump was just getting destroyed in the polls. And, I thought what I found really interesting was more... and this is just from 35 years of market experience. Markets absolutely hate one governments, like one party governments, because what that means is government can go in and change the rules. So markets absolutely hate, like when Canada had a majority government run by the Conservatives, the market was not very happy. And if you go back and look, say, in 2008, how did the stock market do, right? And that's when Obama and the Democrats owned Washington. So interestingly enough, and we started to see the stock market break there a while ago, I think a part of the market was really worried that not only was Donald Trump going to lose the Republican, ticket for the presidency, but he was actually undermining a lot of the congressional elections. And then, of course, this email scandal just came out a little while ago. And look at this cute little bottom that came in here on his coin right on that event. So it's interesting how that seems to coincide nicely, that little double bottom, with that political gaffe by Clinton.
I just wonder, does Trump coin have any type of correlation whatsoever to like the actual election, or is it literally just like a Litecoin clone?
They have explicitly said, or Donald Trump himself has explicitly come out and said, I have no association with this coin. that was interesting when I looked into it.
It's basically Coinigy all over again.
Gotcha.
Okay. So, how directly correlated? I think that there's, you guys have heard of these things called super PACs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, anybody could go in and throw a bunch of money together and become a political lobby, right?
Yeah, I wonder, do you know if this is actually tied to any PACs, or?
I don't know for certain. I cannot comment on that.
Funny though, that it sounds like he's kind of running the market very similar to the polls. Like if we look at Clinton coin, I wonder what that chart looks like.
Yeah. I think basically this coin came alive just like literally a week or so ago when that Clinton shit hit the fan, eh?
Yeah, we should throw Clinton on top of that. This would be interesting to see.
All right. Compare.
Yeah, and just
What's
type
the symbol
CLINT.
for the Clinton coin?
CLINT, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
And it's also on Yobit too, so obviously they're gonna be slightly biased. Okay, here it is here. So let's change this to maybe like let's go line, and then let's we can leave it as yellow, and then let's go, I don't know, say blue. All right, and then let's go no scale. Will that work? No. Let's go.
I think you have to do it on the right. Oh yeah, there we go.
Okay, so as Trump was getting wiped out in the debate, I don't really see the Clinton coin doing a hell of a lot here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if these are run by the same guy. I think there's also like a Bernie coin as well that might be from the same developer, but I think it's just somebody like threw together a random blockchain, like, one of those coin creator type deals. And
yeah, if anything, well, so this was where the debate was, and I think they tried to put in a bottom, hoping Mr. Trump would make a good showing at the debates. Didn't really pan out, but I don't see any sort of bid coming in on this Clinton coin. I do see a cute little W right there and a pivot on the Trump coin on the Clinton gaffe, and I don't know. I mean, why is this Clinton coin moving up like this? Maybe this is
her email. She thinks crypto is too liberal, so I don't think it doesn't really fancy her.
Well, so I guess what I'm just saying is I don't think that this Clinton coin, the blue line here, whatever color, teal, I don't think it's tracking her that closely. But I do think this Trump coin is tracking his fortunes.
There's a lot of 4chan guys and, probably Bitcoiners that are into Trump for many different reasons. So that's probably why you're seeing a lot more correlation with it. That and it's, it's a lot of entertainment to go along with it too.
Yeah, I suppose, within the crypto space, I would imagine that Hillary Clinton is probably perceived as sort of the repeating the past 20 years, and how much the one reason why Bitcoin's even here to begin with is because of sort of the disdain for the bureaucracy, eh?
Yeah, well, the term that I've heard amongst a couple people is, the none of the above vote, because a lot of people aren't happy with either candidate, is just buy Bitcoin. You just get it out of the U.S. economy by investing everything you own in Bitcoin. It's like kind of the more libertarian mindset of just getting out of the system or stop supporting the system altogether.
Okay.
Might be a good time to invest in some Stein or Johnson coin.
So that's interesting that the crypto community has not embraced Donald Trump. Is that the message I'm hearing?
Oh, I know at least one Trumper in the Jumbuck Slack, and I think we've all kind of gave him a little bit of an earful of just like, yeah, like just because I don't like Trump doesn't mean I'm pro Hillary, but it's the whole election is kind of just a wash, and I don't think we should be covering it too much more on the show here.
Yeah, you guys have it easy in Canada, so
we get to watch from the other side of the fence, or the wall as we're going to build.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I suppose, Alex, we have to be concerned about that. Mr. Trump might decide to build a wall across the northern border too.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be paying for it. I don't know about you.
No. That'd be interesting to see. There's not enough of us Canadians up here to pay for it.
I'd be worried if he tries to invade or something. But I don't know. We'll see the War of 1812 all over again.
Yeah. Well, I find it interesting because I'm a big fan of these fear-greed cycles, and usually fear cycles end in a lot of fearfulness in the marketplace. Just the way it is. World War II, the Battle of the Bulge, that was fought right around a fear cycle. 1980, of course, with the Americans being paraded around Tehran and all that, that was a fear cycle. And here we are at another fear cycle apex. So the worst thing is to have a loose gun, a loose cannon, like a guy like Trump at the wheel through one of these cycles, because it could get pretty fucking crazy.
Well, I didn't think it could get even crazier than it already is, but we'll see what happens next week.
Well, and if you're a woman, you better get your bikini out of the fucking cupboard.
Hey, I'm all for that, but
anyway, there are female viewers. I know there are a few about you out there. You're not. I don't think Donald Trump's your guy.
Well, I tell you what. On that note, we should probably get to wrapping it up.
Are we out of time here?
Yeah, we're getting close, and I know Rob and I have to get back to just massive amounts of work. But so Brian, if somebody wants to check out a little bit more of your interesting technical analysis and learn how to trade, where can they find you?
Yep, thank you for the lead-in, Will. You can find me, of course, at therationalinvestor.co. Great resource for new people to come to. It's kind of like an incubator. If you really want to learn how to manage yourself professionally in the marketplace and make sure that you can sort of survive. And we have a new education program starting in the new year. So if you are interested, by all means, send me you can pop on the site and you can send me a private message, or you can follow me. Not a bad way for people to just sort of get a feel for how I look at the market. You can follow me at CR Investor on Twitter. And if you want to just, talk to me a little bit before you come on the site, maybe it's a little bit daunting. This isn't a bad platform for us to get to know each other a little bit too. So
Good deal.
therationalinvestor.co and CR Investor on Twitter.
Definitely check it out. And how about Alex? Where can ye be found?
So Twitter, I'm block_talk, Alex_Sterk, STERK. You can check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/blocktalk, and that will bring you to the lovely page here, where you can find many great videos on all cool projects, like the one we had last Friday, where Brian participated with Simon Dixon. also links in the video descriptions if you want to get the audio, just so you have some background noise when you're playing around with charts, you know, because sometimes you need a little bit of distraction when you're trying to figure out where to drop that fib on, you know. Yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for shows, by all means, reach out to me. Send the devs my way. I always love interviewing people. I'm talking right now with wants to come on the show, so we'll see about that, and a couple other projects. Yeah, tune in, like, subscribe, all that, and make sure you like and subscribe this channel, guys.
Yep, that was my lead-in. So if you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. It definitely helps us out, and you'll also be notified whenever new episodes are occurring. And tentatively, the next episode will be in 2 weeks, Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we will see you then. Thanks for watching.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good luck at